Hello and welcome. Anyone who's been to Merchant City Yoga on a Sunday knows how much I love catching up with everyone over a cup of my freshly brewed spiced chai. These Sunday chai sessions really bring everyone together. A true celebration of friendship, community and connection. And as these COVID restrictions continue, I want to try and capture some of that magic and share it with you at home. So I've invited some familiar faces from our MCY family to chat with me online over a cuppa. I'm affectionately calling them the chai sessions. Pop the kettle on, get yourself comfy and come and join us.
Hi Judy, I hope you've got your chai. I've got my chai.
I sure do, right here.
Oh, I saw the wee chai chats.
I know.
Thinking this up to get a wee chai chat and let everybody hear what we chat about.
I know, maybe the polite version of what we chat about.
Yes.
But before we start, I can't imagine there's anybody watching that doesn't know who you are. But just in case, Roseanne teaches our Morning Mysore programme here at Merchant City Yoga. She also teaches with me on our 200-hour teacher training programme, as well as running our own classes closer to home out there in sunny Blantyre. So thanks very much for joining me. And I thought we could just chat Ashtanga, because we both practice Ashtanga, we both teach Ashtanga, and both done that now for quite a long time.
Oh, yes.
Quite a long time. We'll not put a number on it. But I was thinking, do you remember your first Ashtanga class?
Yes, I do remember my first Ashtanga class, and it was a girl called Pamela Young, and she used to do it in a place in Livingwells in Bells Hill, and I was told by my physio to go and get a dynamic place that would do stretches, and I thought, right, so it was Sharon, my friend Sharon Bianchi, it says to me, come to this class, and my first sun salutation, I was, oh my God, oh my goodness, my breath, I mean, I come for the fitness industry, you know, the BTS stuff, running, it's entirely different, and oh my goodness, but I enjoyed it. You know, that it was something that I've not done this before. I've run, I've done everything else, but I've not done this. But I just couldn't get it into my head. How can I not breathe? I mean, I can do a half marathon, and yet I couldn't get that breath. How? Because you've to just slow everything down. But my mind was still active, and I'm still getting. But I wasn't getting that understanding of, no, that's not what it's about. It's just calm everything down, chill. But I did go back. And the more I went back, the more I practiced it, then I got that understanding of, you know, it's just work with the breath, whereas I was working against the breath. And I think there was a wee bit of the ego thing there as well, you know, where you come for the fitness industry and you went, oh, I can do this, there's nothing I can jump through, I can jump back, which I couldn't. I had to step through and step back and lower down into what we call chaturanga. So you're in a plank and you lower down. Even that, using different muscles that you weren't used to using, and even coming into that up dog, using that breath in still, you know, but again, it's through the help of the teacher that then you started to say, right, I get what you're talking about now. It's that inhale, taking it up rather than working against it, that using the opposite breath. After I left there, I went to Ashtanga Yoga Shala, and it was in Peckham's. And Judy, you were there with Alison, and you were working with, you were a student of Alison's, I'm sure. I didn't really know you then, but Alison just had a beautiful way, absolutely beautiful way of teaching.
It was Alison that kind of dragged me through all of my first Ashtanga experiences, because yeah, I mean, I still remember my first Ashtanga led primary, and I just thought everybody was nuts. In the middle of class, you know, that way I started to kind of giggle. I couldn't, because it was probably either that or cry. I couldn't believe what people were doing. It was just bonkers. And then when Alison told me that people got up and did this before work in the morning, that they got up at silly o'clock in the morning to practice before they went to work. I mean, I just couldn't believe I was so far out with my realm of experience. Again, I just thought everybody was nuts. So when did you start practicing morning Mysore-style?
I started practicing the morning Mysore with Kathy McKean. That's where I went. In fact, I think it was actually Siobhan first, because she was, it was Siobhan at Charing Cross, and she was the first one that ever done a drop back. And you were there as well. I mind you've been there because Alison was there. Did Siobhan not take over for Alison? I mean, it was that long ago now.
I know.
Where was I? And Siobhan had me practicing up to standing postures. So again, it's that ego, isn't it? I mean, your teacher's telling you, look, this is where you practice to. And then you go, no, I want to do another asana after that. I want to do another posture. She's doing that posture. I want to do that posture. That was a bit in it. But then when it came to that your practice did develop and the teacher did give you another posture, you were then getting in going, oh no, I've got this other posture. And you're putting all this pressure onto yourself. The teacher doesn't give you that posture if she doesn't think you're ready to do it. So the pressures that you put on yourself, like me, is when I went in and I seen everybody else was doing all these postures, but the teacher, knowing what I looked like, know what I was capable of, says, no, you work up to there, but me, I want to do this. And then eventually when she sees, right, you're ready to move on, you're like that, oh no, I don't want to move on, you know?
Exactly, because I never understood, like people were always wanting to do more postures. I was like, it's hard enough. Don't give me any more. Thanks. Yeah. Quite happy where I am. And, you know, some of the extra postures are pretty scary. So what did you think of Mysore-style? Like, did it come quite, because obviously quite different to classes that we had done before. Yeah. So did it come quite naturally, or?
I think the good thing about the Mysore was you go in and the teacher tells you, right, this is where you're working to. So again, you're asked, have you attended Mysore before? You either will say no. Okay, right, we'll see they ask you, where do you know up to? If you go, oh, that one where you hold your toe and you take your leg up, and they'll go, all right, and you'll tell them that's Padangusta Asana. And you start to kind of learn the names only because you hear it constantly. And you get to know what the breath and everything else is like as well. But I felt good in the Mysore because you could take as many breaths as you like. It was like guided class. The teacher guides you. So it's inhale, exhale. So your body's moving to that breath. Whereas in Mysore, you can inhale and exhale and as many breaths in and out as you want in that posture. Yeah. So you're not putting any of the pressures on yourself, you know.
You fix your hair and your top.
Yeah, you fix your pants in, and then you get up and you fix your bra. That's if you're wearing one, guys. You fix your hair. If you're baldy, then you clean the sweat away. Yeah, I mean, there are advantages of doing the Mysore as well. Like you can take your time, but the more advanced student, then it's good for them because then it regulates their breath as well. You inhale, exhale, because you've got so many postures in that sequence. So I'll even say how many postures are in it. So it takes you up to about 1.5 to 2 hours to complete your primary series. Or your more advanced students, your second. So you don't want to be faffing about fixing your pants, which you don't need to do anyway. You just listen to that breath. Like I said earlier on, when I first started doing it, I was working against the breath. But when you start to get that understanding, it's amazing how when you work with the breath, you just float in and out these asanas. It does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, or sometimes not so floaty as well.
Yeah.
Even with
That's when you've then again Mysore's good because you can think, right, how am I getting into this posture? You know, like we'll say a hard posture, like Padangusta Asana. You know, how am I going to get my balance? Just to balance on that one leg, and you can start with lifting your knee up, and then think, right, if I engage my bandhas, well, your abs, your whatever you want to call that powerhouse, because sometimes we can lift that leg up and just you're lifting it and you don't know what's holding you up there or what's engaged, and so it's good to get that right. This is what I'm doing. This is right. I can understand. I get that feeling. Whereas in again, a guided class, it's just lift the leg, exhale, get into the posture. But that's Mysore's great, but so's the guided glide class because you don't faff about in it.
you need both, don't you?
You definitely need both. You need both, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So tell me, where do you think your commitment comes from to get up to practice every morning?
I think because I know how the yoga has affected me physically and mentally. As I say, I'll not mention my name, my age, 21. I mean, my husband says to me as well, you know, I'll say to you this, Roseanne, he says, your commitment. He says, I really admire how you're committed to what you do. Every morning I'm up. I mean, I'm not as early as Sarah Hatcher. She's up at 4:15. 4:15 and does a practice. I mean, I'm up. Now that I'm working for you, Judy, on the Tuesday and the Thursday, I do my practice after it. But I'm doing Sarah's classes, you know, on the Thursday and the Sunday. So I get a long lie at 7 o'clock, but I'm up at 6. I'll get my coffee and then I start my practice. But yeah, normally it is about 6 o'clock your practice. 7 o'clock's a really good long lie, but
yeah, I've definitely got better at getting up, but I still think anything before 5 a.m. is the middle of the night.
Yeah,
like I've managed to kind of get a bit better, but anything before 5.
I think because of that commitment of getting up in the morning, is it your body clock? I mean, I know I'm saying, right, I start my practice at 7 o'clock. That's good for a long, but you're not really, you're up anyway. But it's like a wee treat. It's a wee treat. But I think I've now saying to myself, right, what's the benefits do I get out of that? Ask my husband, you know, I'm always healthy. I'm never no well, touch wood. My physical body, physique, everything like that for my age is absolutely great. And I'm grounded. And how do you, I mean, it sounds, how do you know you're grounded? Just because I know my head's no buzzing up here. And if I did get that way where I'm anxious, where at the beginning of the lockdown, I don't think there was anybody. It wasn't a wee bit anxious of that unknown. But then I brought it back. I would ground myself through my practice.
And that brings you right back into your body, doesn't it?
It does. It brought me, it grounded me. And there's not a morning that I didn't do my practice, because then we weren't doing the Zoom, but I would do my practice if it was myself. And then I would maybe get somebody else to practice with, like Alison and Susan or yourself, you know. But I don't know where I would. No, I don't know where I'd be if it wasn't for my yoga. I'd be still doing my yoga. So 12 years now I've been doing it. 12 years, and I'm still.
Yeah, I wonder how folk cope who don't. Because, I mean, obviously, like, you know, like you've said, we all get anxious and we all struggle a little bit. But people who don't have something to kind of, to give them that steadiness or just like I say, give them that kind of, bring them back into the body rather than too much thinking and too much time in the head.
Yeah, it's that, where did you start? That's what they do, you know, like, I mean, all my friends, none of them do the yoga, you know, and they'll go, oh, you know, look at you, you're dead bendy, look at you, look at your muscles, and you're going, so why don't you just step on your mat and take it for there? You know, do what I done when I went to the Living Wells. You know, you start off with that sun salutation and see what happens for there. You know, it's like anything else. You know, you've got to try it first and then say, right, where am I going to go for there?
Yeah, that's the chestnut, isn't it? The number of people that have told us, oh, I'm not bendy enough, I'm not strong enough. Or another favourite is Ashtanga's too scary. And I mean, do you not wish, I mean, I totally wish that I'd taken photos, and I mean, video wasn't a thing back when we started, but taking photos and stuff, just to show people that, like, we didn't pop onto our mats able to do all of this stuff.
That's true.
It's hard work and
it's hard work.
Perseverance.
It's hard work. So what's hard about it? Getting up at that time in the morning. I know I'm saying I'm committed to getting up, but it is hard. It's hard. It's like you go and do your job. There's people out there love their job. For all they love their job, it's still hard to get up there and go. You know, it's no easy. I think just get up there, get on your mat, and then see what happens for there. So your Zoom, like, it doesn't need to be Mysore. You can go to your Sunday guided leg class and start it for there, because the teacher gives you that cue, right? You sit there and watch if you can't do it, and then when you're ready, you join in, because there's always a hard posture there that everybody struggles with. And that's where you get the cue to say, well, you can sit there and look and see how that person's doing it. And then maybe when you start going to Mysore, that's what you start to do. The teacher will say, right, try it this way or try it that way.
So tell me, in your own practice, is there a posture that kind of, I don't know, I know, like, we don't have favourites and postures we dislike, but is there a posture that kind of your heart just sinks a little bit when you know you've got to practice it that day, or it's coming up, or you get, you know, the anticipation thing that happens that's really annoying and you can't get it out the way?
I think what happens is right, you've got a posture that, like Kapotasana, everybody's right, Kapotasana. Now what happens is you before you get two postures into Kapotasana, just do your Ashtrasana, and you start thinking about Kapotasana. And then when you get Kapotasana out the way, that's great. And then comes along Pincha. And you're going, all right. But now what's happened is that Kapotasana then takes a wee side. That goes back because you know that's not that bad. It's Pincha, it's hard. So then what happens is once you start, well, I kind of a day Pincha. And then it's the back bends. And for the now, Sarah Hatcher's got me working with TikToks, and my arms are shaking. My arms are like this. But what I've got to do is I'm doing the sutras with Sarah at the moment, and this is another part of yoga now that I'm going into, and it's how the asanas, the postures, and the sutras, and what's the meaning of them. And so what I find myself doing in the TikToks is standing back and watching myself, like as if I'm watching myself from behind, and I'm listening to my breath, and I'm visualizing, and I have to stop myself to rushing into getting it. Don't get anxious. Don't start thinking, because you start thinking, this is no. I've had to actually stand back and say, right, you're the seer, watch what you're going to do. And that's the way we should be doing, like Pancha, Kapatasana, all these hard postures, but it's all right at the time. It's just through regular practice. And like me sitting here talking to you, you know, that helps when you start to sit and talk to somebody about, what about this posture? How did you feel about it? And then you get a wee bit of advice for yourself or whoever the teacher is.
Or sometimes I think even just sharing the struggle, like just talking about it and knowing it's not just you that gets the Kapatasana fear or the back bending fear. Like I remember when I first started working on drop backs, I'd be thinking about them right from the beginning of practice. It was just like there the whole time. So obviously I wasn't present and aware for any other posture. All I could think about. But like you say, over time, you just keep, it's not a reason not to do them, but over time, you just kind of learn to manage that a little bit, don't you?
But that's the pressures we put on ourselves, and that's why people struggle, I think, to get on their mat, because even before they've started thinking about, oh, what is it she's going to get me to do, what she's going to get me to do, or, you know, so we do put the pressures on ourselves. Back bends as well. If we don't want to do a back bend, we don't do a back bend, you know. So if somebody starts doing the sun salutation, if they don't want to do it the particular way that we do it, where we jump back, you step back. There's always, you can modify anything. I mean, I've had people with different capabilities trying to do, maybe can't hear, can't see, something wrong with the limbs, you know. There's no reason why you can't do a yoga. You just have to modify it to suit you.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that I hope that people get from coming to practice with us, that the practice meets them wherever they are, and it's not about what we can do, and it's not even so much about what we think they can do. It meets them wherever they are. But then I guess that's a tricky balance, isn't it? Because as teachers, and it's kind of what we look for from our teachers as well, is you want to be supported, but also you want to be supported while you go maybe further than you think you could as well.
But again, it's not just putting it all on the teacher as well. It's about you taking ownership as well of your practice. You know, you can't always say, right, I'm just going to go and do a class and expect to have the teachers watching you all the way through the class. You've got to take responsibility for your own practice and say, right, she's busy, she's doing what she's doing. That doesn't mean to say that I have to stop putting my all into my yoga, you know, trying to work it out in my own head, how I step back into this posture or step forward into this posture, how do I breathe in this posture. It's all about learning, and you've got to learn for yourself as well. You can't just keep relying on the teacher to tell you, right, step your leg through, right, breathe in, right, breathe out.
Yeah. So I'm just going to finish up, I think, but just before we go, what do you think is the most common thing you hear in your Ashtanga classes?
As we're talking about trying to get up at that time in the morning, oh, I'm dead tired. No, get to your bed earlier. Don't sit up to 11 o'clock at night. You should maybe go to bed between 9 and 10 o'clock, and that's you, 7 hours sleep. In Merchant City Yoga, we start at 6 o'clock, but that doesn't mean to say that you have to start at 6. If your practice only lasts an hour, why don't you get up at 6:30, start your practice at 7 o'clock, and you'll be finished for 8 o'clock? Yeah, it depends on how long your practice is. 2 hours is just for the more, again, if you decide to take more breaths or work on certain postures, repeat them 2 and 3 times, it gives you plenty of time to do it. You don't need to start your practice at 6 o'clock, so come along at 6:30.
That's another really good point as well about you don't have to do 2 hours every day. Like managing your energy is really, really important. And so it maybe won't be the same Like I heard you speaking to someone this morning about doing different practices on different days, and obviously it depends what people have got going on in their lives, how it's going to fit in terms of energy and around their week. But I think that's really important as well. Like it's not 150% every day.
You couldn't, no, every day. You couldn't do that every day. And it's, again, we're saying we practice 6 days a week. That's no every week, because you have your moon days as well, and you take rest on your moon days. Again, only if you're doing a practice 6 days a week. But see if you get up the 2 mornings and then say, oh, it's a moon day, I'll just leave it that day, and that means you've only done it one day. No. If you don't practice 6 days a week, it doesn't apply to you. It doesn't apply.
No, and it doesn't have to be moon days you take as rest days if they're not suitable. They don't fit with your schedule either. I think it's just important that if you are aiming for a 6 day a week practice, that you do take rest.
You could start it off
as well. Yeah.
When we're done in Merchant City. So, you know, you could maybe do your practice Tuesday and Thursday. You know, so that's you get Wednesday and Friday rest. We have a Mysore on the Saturday. There you could do it there. So you start to build it up. That's not to say that you have got to do 6 days a week, but it's better if you can do at least 3. So start building it up. That's the way I built it up. It was once a week, then twice a week, 3 times a week.
Yeah, and you feel that it's like anything, isn't it? Like once, I think there's a really big difference between going from 1 to twice a week, and then there's a big jump again from going to 2 to 3 or 4 times a week as well. But that's how we all start. You just kind of, it sucks you in, it draws you in and gets under your skin.
You asked me about how what gets me up in the morning to do my practice. It's that feeling of when you do get up in the morning and do your practice, how good you feel and how enlightenment. I mean, it's like, oh, everything's just cleared out your head. You feel physically good, mentally good. You go to work with a wee spring in your feet, and then probably about 6 o'clock at night, you go, oh, my God, that was this morning I done my practice. It's like your days, 2 days in one. And then you go, that was really good. Again, I'm not saying it's easy to get up, but you feel it. After your practice, you'll go, I'm glad I done that. I'm glad I got up. Yeah. So you're going to start it once and then start doing it twice and then 3 times.
Oh, always feel better after it. Well, I think that's a great place to stop. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It encourages some people to come along to the Mysore, but feel free to message myself. I'm on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. You don't need to start at 6 o'clock. You can come at 7 o'clock and I'll keep you right.
Magic. And thanks as well. I think it's great for people to hear about your practice and how you manage as well, that it's not magic and you don't leap out of bed in the morning into 3rd series, you know, without skipping a beat.
No.
Right, thanks, Roseanne.
Okay, thank you, Judy.
Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed our chat. If you've got any questions, you can email me or find us on social media. And until we can return to our Sunday chai sessions in the studio, I'll see you here next time.